for the interviews for sure. All right, we are live. I was not able to change my virtual background, but yeah, let's hope that that gets sorted out soon. Yeah, it's not seen.
Oh yeah, it's there now.
Yep, this one is there. Not able to get to the. This is there, but the other one is not coming. Chalo, go back. This will work. All right. So welcome everyone to another to the episode 5 of the PRATHAM AlumSpeak 2020. Today we have with us Vrinda Mittal. Right. Well, how should I introduce her? I mean, she's a very special child, definitely gifted, has the choicest blessings of the God and her parents. And as a student, she has been a topper all throughout. She was a student of Kamal Convent School, Chanakyapuri, if I remember correctly. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Vrinda. I hope I remember it correctly. She was the head girl of the school as well.
That was assistant head girl.
Assistant head girl, yes. I remember her from the days that when I went to the school for the career counseling session that we were doing. From that time to her joining the Pratham test prep classes at Kailash Colony, she was a student from the 2012 batch. That batch produced Hardik Wadhwa. We have already met Hardik. We have already met Yashna, and now we're meeting Vrinda Mittal. Till today, I feel that was the best batch that Pratham has had, with great people, great kids whom we share a very, very close bond with. So she qualified pretty much all the exams that she sat for, right, Vrinda? You cleared the Symbiosis and the Narsi Monji exams as well, right?
Yeah, it was Symbiosis, Narsi Monji. Actually, I don't remember if I sat for Narsi Monji, but Symbiosis, SSCBS.
Yeah, so she was All India rank 51 in the DU JAT entrance exam. I still remember the debate that we had of her not joining College of Business Studies and her pursuing economics. I still remember that debate very vividly, right? So she finally decided to do economics honors from Lady Shri Ram College. She was a topper in her college as well, right? She did exceedingly well, and post her finishing her economics honors from LSR, she went on to join, as of now, as on date today, the #1 ranked college in the world, which is MIT Sloan School of Business, right, where she did her master's in finance. Subsequent to her completing her master's in finance from MIT Sloan, she went on to work for a company called Nera Consulting, right, and provided economic consulting to them. Then I think we'll talk about her changing and going back to economics and finance again. She's currently pursuing her PhD. Yes, you've heard it right. She's currently pursuing her PhD from Columbia Business School, right? And in between the time that she's done all of that, she completed her MPhil as well, right? So the degrees are just piling up, right? So, and I can assure you, all of you who are watching this video, that she is one person whom you will see a lot of in the future. She will be one person whose articles and her papers is what you're going to be reading in the future for sure. And I'm quite sure she, through her papers and her research papers, is definitely going to keep India at the thick of things and keep helping India whichever way she can, right? So all the very best. We're looking forward to your papers, Vrinda. And I hope your parents are extremely proud of you. I am for sure, and my team at Pratham is extremely proud of you. So let's begin. Are you overwhelmed with the introduction, or
yes, of course. I think you're portraying me way bigger than I am, but I think it's all due to the guidance I've received. I think throughout
Over a
my
period of
school,
time,
my
yeah.
college.
Okay, let's begin.
Absolutely.
Let's begin from the point of how was school and how did that love affair with economics start?
So I think I was. So firstly, I hope you all are doing okay. I mean, this is a very, very crucial time, and I hope you all are doing safe. I think that's the foremost thing, and I'm so happy that all of you could come here today. Now, I think talking about economics, I mean, honestly, it was always fascinating to me. I was always a very economically inclined person. I think it was from 9th and 10th. At that time, I didn't know what economics was. I think because at that time you just read about what India is doing, India's economy and everything. That's not economics. I realized when I went into undergrad, but I think I was pretty sure that's the subject I really like. So I mean, even in 11th and 12th, when I read more about micro and macro, which were like normal, like what's a GDP, like what kind of accounting happens, and that was all very at the base and very superficial. When I realized like what entering undergrad as economics is, but I think to be very honest, for me, I have always idoled, like I have always admired Raghuram Rajan and Geeta Gopinath.
You're the next one in the making.
No, sir, not at all.
Yeah, why not? Why not? You following their footsteps?
No, sir. He is an idol to so many of us economists. I mean, pursuing to be an economist, and I think there's just no one else like him.
You're nearly there, Vrinda. Don't be so embarrassed by calling yourself an economist. You're nearly there.
No, sir, I'm not embarrassed. It's just I think there's a long way to go. There's a long way to go, but that's how I think it all started. I mean, I used to be really inclined about what's happening in the about the news, the financial crisis, because I remember in 2008 I was mostly in school, but to be honest, I didn't understand anything at that point. Like I understood nothing, but I think that's when I realized that I really want to pursue that and going forward.
Right. So the love affair started from 11th and 12th, and then it got you to LSR. Do you remember the debate we had when you got through Sukhdev and you were also debating of getting in? What was your 12th percentage first? Let's get that out.
So best of 4 was 96.5.
And that time you were getting LSR at that, right? In the first or second list?
I think it was the third list.
Wow.
Yes, I think it was the third list. I got into Shriram College of Commerce for BCom honors, but I knew I wanted to do economics honors, so I decided to. So in the first list, I got an admission there, but then I dropped that, and then I came to LSR for economics honors.
Brilliant, super duper. So. Badhiya hai. So that is how you remember the debate we had regarding Sukhdev versus Eco Honors?
Of course, we were in Pratham. We were talking. I even remember what you told me.
Please share it with the audience as well.
You said, don't choose economics. You're digging a hole in front of you, and I can see you falling into it.
I'm so glad.
But I'm like, no, sir.
I'm so glad.
I'm sorry.
You didn't follow what I said.
I said no, sir. I'm sorry, but I'm going to.
India would have lost out on a economist like you.
But sir, I think it was really important. I think having CBS as an option to go to was itself a very prestigious thing. Yeah.
Brilliant. So, आप CBS को टाटा बाय बाय बोल के पहुंचे LSR. So, did that love affair with economics continue in LSR? Was it further enhanced into obsession?
I think I've always liked. I mean, I think it continued, and I think it was during LSR when I decided that. So I got to know actually different. So I think how I would put it, like before LSR, I knew that all this is exciting, but nothing made sense. You know, as a high school student, you don't know, and I was like, okay, it's exciting, but I have no idea what it is, but I want to understand it. And I think that's what happened in LSR because. You were basically in undergrad, you were exposed to so many different streams of economics, like there's development economics. So we had Divya Mishra ma'am, then there's, microeconomics, which NJ ma'am, and we've got amazing teachers at LSR. And then I think with macro, with Anjani, I mean, with all these things, like you get exposed to different streams of economics, and I think my interest just kept on growing, but it kind of became more specialized. So I kind of realized that, okay, out of all the streams, finance is something I really like, and that is something I can study day in and day out. Like you really have to enjoy the subject. And I think financial economics was one of them.
All right. So you would probably give a lot of credit to your teachers at LSR for you to continue this love affair with economics, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So for all the kids who are watching this, LSR is definitely a good place for economics for all kids that are wanting to pursue economics, and you have great teachers, as Vrinda has safely said. So Vrinda, I'll ask questions which are very basic and should help kids who are now in 12th to understand what is in front of them. Is finance part of economics or economics part of finance?
I would say economics. So economics is a field, and finance is a specialization, is a specific part of economics. So in the end, I think now, after all these years, I've realized that the difference is not so much. I mean, it pertains to the question you're trying to answer. In the end, whether you're doing an economics PhD or a finance PhD, you all end up using the same tools. So finance is one of the special fields which tools of economics can answer. And then finance has its own tools as well, but they're all kind of really intermingled.
So you wanted to get into financial economics, right? Not a hardcore finance role which a person pursues in a corporate, right? Is that assumption correct, Vrinda?
I think when I was in LSI, I really wanted to pursue just a master's and get into the industry. I didn't know. So I remember this very vividly because I used to have those, those candid discussions with my teachers at LSI. Anjani member would be like, yeah, you should do a PhD. And, but that time it was very candid, and I basically had no intention of doing a PhD in LSI. But because I didn't know financial economics, we had like one course in finance or one or two courses in, you cannot decide your career on the basis of that. So I thought, okay, this is a good start. Let me just get into a finance master's, which is what I then did. So I applied to finance masters across places. And
did you get selected apart from MIT Sloan?
So I applied to very few places actually. And because I didn't want to do, I was looking for a very specialized masters. So at that time, finance masters were now like springing up, but I applied to LSE. I got in LSE, and I applied to Cambridge as well. I got in Cambridge. In fact, so India has a scholarship, and this might be pertaining to many people who are applying. India has a scholarship with the UK called the Commonwealth Scholarship, in which they select one student out of every subject for undergrad and masters. So for economics, I got that scholarship.
Wow. So your MIT Sloan was subsidized by how much?
No. But that scholarship was for the UK. So I didn't end up taking that. I got it, but when I got into MIT, I thought, let me go to MIT. But then so thankfully MIT has been really kind. They gave me a scholarship also partly. So it helped. But I think if you want to study finance, I think it's very important to have great people, and LSE, MIT, Cambridge are all great places. But I think at that time, and I think I chose my decision today. I think I'm still very happy with it.
Okay, so there is a question that is coming right now from Hargun. She's watching us on YouTube. Why not LSE or Cambridge?
I think I looked at the faculty, I looked at what my interests were, and also I looked at the visa situation at that time. So I had a lot of seniors who, after LSE, I spoke to a lot of seniors, LSE or MIT. I think MIT has just great faculty. I mean,
it's just there. It's still ranked. You went there in 2015, in 2020, it's still ranked #1 in the world.
No, I think at that time, to be honest, I wasn't that aware also. But I think ex post, when I look back, I made the right choice. LSE has great faculty as well, like no doubt. It has some amazing people, especially its economics and finance course, which I got in, is also very strong. But for me, it was a combination of faculty, And also, like, I'm just going to get one master, so might as well go to the place where I feel exciting and I like. And then I also looked at the visa situation. I think that was one of
Yeah,
my
that is what
major
probably
concerns.
would have tilted you in favor of US as compared.
Yeah, I think it was the visa also played hands down in the favor of the US at that time.
Very nicely put. So, what we know of international universities, it's pretty tough to crack top university. And you're talking about the top of the top league colleges of the world. So what did Vrinda do in her college that her profile became so strong that she was accepted in the top schools of the world?
So firstly, I just want to say that this is just my experience. I'm no expert in this. This is just my experience.
I mean, there is no better expert than your own experience.
So I think in my experience, what happened is I was very, so what the colleges, what from my experience when I look back, what they really want to see is how much you want to go to that college. And if you just end up applying, like for me, if I just ended up applying everywhere, I mean, and not got into anything, then it doesn't really pay you off that much. So I think for me, I really researched what I wanted to do before. Like I started a year before actually. So it was very much a year in advance. I started researching what all courses are there. So I used to go to every school's website, like first look at the QS rankings, top schools, go to the school's websites, see what all the courses they have to offer, whether you like those courses or not, see where the students ended up going, look at the faculty, look at the courses they have to offer. And then actually I email the admissions teams directly. I mean, because at my time, I don't know how much it is true now, but there was always this 4 years versus a 3-year thing. So many US universities weren't accepting 3 years of education. And for me, I didn't want to drop a year. I'm like, I've gotten my education. I think I'm like, I have a very strong math background, which DU prepares you for, which is great. And then I just wanted to apply and get in. I didn't want to drop a year. So that's why the universities actually helped me, because I emailed them asking, am I eligible? Should I apply? And my concerns. So I think if you start doing that way ahead of time, that really saves you a lot of like last minute hassles. Should I apply? Should I not apply? And whatever.
So how important was the profile that you had with respect to applying? I mean, what all did you do in college that probably enhanced your profile overall? Because so not everyone can get selected at MIT, right?
I mean, also, I think it's a match, because what schools also look for, like whether that kind of a candidate will fit their program. I think that's also something which you should have to keep in mind. And for me, I knew that I just wanted to focus on my grades and marks, and then I wanted to get involved in 1 or 2 extracurricular activities. So I was the editor of the I don't remember now, but I think I was one of the editors of the LSR journal, LSR Economics Journal.
Yes, you were.
And then I was part of the books and documentary club for some time, and I was engaged in. I went to a few competitions. I think that's a good way to just put, because in LSR a lot of economics is very, like at my time it was very like theory and books driven. So I think competitions really helped me to have some fun with it and like participate. So I did those kind of things. I didn't do any debating or like dance or things which LSR really prides itself, and I think I should have done that. I should have just had some enjoyed
they will realize that it's good to keep with the books once you become the governor of RBI and say,
no sir, governor of RBI is only a good not me. But sir, to be honest,
never say never.
But sir, it's a very prestigious post. But sir, to be honest, it was mostly acads for me and a little bit of extracurriculars, which were mostly.
How good were you in acads in college? What was your percentage in college in your economics honors?
I think above 90%, like 90 point.
Wow, above 90% in economics honors. Yeah, you were a genius, born genius, so you continue to. Poor souls like us who got a .60% in our graduation can only feel the fact that how can humans get a 90% in college, right? That's something that is unheard of. So did you give your GMAT or GRE as well, Vrinda?
Yeah, so I gave my GRE. I didn't give my GMAT because I think it was 320. It's out of 330, right? No, yeah. 340. It's out of. It was okay. Then it was 325. I think. Wow. I got a full in math, and I think so. This is also something I really understood while applying. That when you're applying for a quantitative, program abroad, like which marks matter. So for me, obviously, like a lot has changed now. But for me, I think I focused on math and English, and I think those are all the sections. But I think the math score mattered more for me.
All right. Wow. You had a full in math. Okay, brilliant. Why are we not surprised? So there is another Vrinda on YouTube who's asking you, how did you build your profile in LSR?
I didn't really do anything to build my profile.
You studied, you got a 90% plus, you had a near perfect score in GRE, and post that you participated in, you were the...
Oh yeah, I forgot one thing. So I think this was part of the building profile thing. I used to head a project in Enactus.
Yes, which was Enactus is a very very big thing in DU these days.
It's a very big thing, and I think and that opened my eyes a lot. Actually, that got me towards this entrepreneurship side. Where so my Enactus project was something which I really enjoyed and I'm really proud of, and I think it's still running. And obviously, like with everyone else in the team, I think it was a team effort for sure. And then I think I participated in like economics conferences across schools. Like I think there is like LSR has Econ Vista, and then I think Stephens has something else. So I enjoyed doing that. And
what was that Enactus project, Vrinda?
So it was about, so we had, we connected some women in Punjab from a village to like Delhi areas, and they used to make, we started with salwars. So they used to make Patiala salwars, and they were just making for themselves. So we provided them with a lot of cost inputs and everything. And then they used to make it, and we used to market it in the cities. But then later they started handicrafts, papads, achars, everything. But for my time, it was just Patiala salwars. I think that's what we started.
Great.
Yeah. I think we came a runner-up or something, but we didn't. I think Sukhdev won.
Yeah.
Sukhdev wins.
So I remember because I closely follow Enactus in the three colleges, because a lot of our students who are going in these colleges are participating in that. So they was very very active in Enactus. SRCC is very active in Enactus, and so is LSR. And these are the top three, and so is IIT Delhi, by the way. IIT Delhi is also very active in Enactus. These are the four colleges which are pretty much ruling the roost every once a year. And whoever wins in India then represents the country abroad, right? And what I know of, Sukhdev has probably won 2 World Cups abroad, which is the overall winners of Enactus competition worldwide. They won it twice. So Enactus is per se a very very brilliant thing to have on your resume. And if you have participated at a school and you won at nationals and then you participated at international, your profile is pretty much sorted, right? So coming down to PhD, why after masters in finance you ended up doing PhD? Did the corporate world and the regular job didn't excite you, Vrinda?
Yeah, I think I knew I wanted to go to do a PhD after my masters, but I was taking an econometrics
course. So the idea of doing PhD came in when you were doing your masters, or was there since the beginning?
It was when I was doing my masters. So this was actually in the spring term. So there you have fall and spring. So this was in the spring term, and I was actually taking. I was doing 2 things. I was taking a PhD course in the MIT Econ department, Econometrics by Viktor Chernozhakov. So that's like a first year mandatory course. So I didn't know if I'll be able to handle the course curriculum and everything. So I thought, like it's a good idea to take a course to see what it is like, and also to build your profile. Like so that when you apply, even schools know that okay, she can handle that kind of a course. And second, I was working as an RA for Roberto Rigobon in MIT. So I think that also made me.
Please help the audience and me, the poor, unintellectual people that we have. Sorry. What is an RA?
RA is basically a research assistant, which helps professors on projects. And like you basically you're working under a professor to help them achieve their deliverables on the project. So they'll be like giving you tasks. Okay, do this. What do you think of this? Like run this regression, or what do you think of this idea? And obviously it varies from professor to professor. And so the professor I was working with, Roberto Rigobon, he was very supportive. And I told him that I want to apply for a PhD, and this is what I think. And I don't know if I can do it, but this experience is for me to understand whether I want to do a PhD, and also to like have some research experience on my profile. So so I did this in the spring, and applications are in the fall. So I'm like, okay, I think I also need to get some industry experience, which was advised to me also, because you're entering directly 5 years again into the study mode. I think you need to be sure of your decision. So I'm like, okay, I can hit like one bird with two stones, where I'll be like, okay, the opposite, two birds with one stone. But I was like, okay, let me just, go work, figure out how it is. And then also I'll have time to apply next year when I'll get my grades.
So how was your experience working with Nera Consulting?
Oh, it was like the proper New York job experience. I think it was amazing. Our office was in Midtown. I had a great team. And I think, so we had...
Was that placements from college, or you applied on your own?
So in the US, it's very different as compared to placements. For instance, at LSR, what I had experienced. So in the US, it was mostly about... So campus, so companies post their job offerings on the campus portal, and it's up for, and then people just apply for them, and then they interview you on campus, and then they call you for a super day or something like that. So that was the process. So I got it through campus, and so you have a proper campus cell and everything, or a career cell which supports you.
Right. So you enjoyed you worked there for a year and a half.
I worked there for less than a year, like 11 months. Yeah.
So you enjoyed your New York stint and in working in typical New York scenarios, what we watch in series, web series, and the programs, right? Pretty much like that, business suits and the works.
Yeah, my team was a little chill, I think. But
do you understand the word chill? I don't think so. You understand the word chill.
No, but my team was very nice. I had 4 seniors and around 8 to 9 people in a team. So we were pretty much handling the project by ourselves, which was great. The projects were exciting. So it wasn't that, we were just like, okay, just do this part, but we were actually handling projects from start to end, getting on client calls and everything. So it was nice. It was a good learning experience.
And then PhD happened. So okay, before we move to the PhD, do you have a job offer in hand after your LSR also? Or you were clear that you're not sitting for placements?
No, I had a job offer at hand. This was from my internship at Barclays. So I interned at Barclays during LSR. So I had a pre-placement offer from them.
Awesome. So then PhD happened, right? So I'll first ask you why PhD, then I'll ask you what after PhD is what you want to do, and then we'll probably throw the house open for questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. I think why PhD was, I know I wrote it in my application, but I just enjoyed doing my research so much. I liked working on my own ideas and my own projects, and I think in a work experience, what happens is like this is the project deadline here. Okay, now this is the turnaround. Okay, then what? You change the project. But I I kind of really like the idea of just sitting with myself, thinking what I like, what is more, like just keep on digging deeper. Okay, this is an idea. Then what does it mean? Just go in. Okay, what does this mean? You work with one thing and then you just keep finding out more things, and you're just by yourself, and obviously like you're working with co-authors and you have those discussions and those like really those informative discussions, and I think work helps you do that, but only to an extent. There's always an upper limit, because in the end you're working for a team and for the company and for the project which is not your own, and I think that is something I really enjoy. Also, I get to choose my topics, what I work on.
Which is your topic for your PhD, Vrinda?
So I like financial intermediation, which is mostly like
financial
intermediation, which is mostly like dealing with banks and how banks interact with the firms and economy and those kind of things.
All right. Very
so I think after this, I mean, I would definitely like to follow the regular path of a PhD graduate, which is like applying to schools, teaching and doing research.
Yeah, research and teaching, right? So how about teaching at Columbia Business School yourself? Do they take up the PhD students as teachers them also, or not yet?
No, sir. So in the US, at least, I don't know about the other geographies, but in the US, generally, when you go on the job market, you don't teach at your own school. It's like the school pushes for you.
So maybe you want to go back to MIT to teach.
So it's not that easy. I'm sure that's everyone's dream.
I mean, come on, Vrinda, you've pretty much done every. And the sun that tomorrow you will be helping India in something in some capacity or the other. So any possibility of you coming back to India?
So that's a question my parents keep asking. I don't have the answer
on their behalf.
So I don't have the answer to it. I mean, honestly, it really depends on. I mean, in the near future, I would like to sit on the US and Europe job market, mostly US. Mm-hmm. By job, so again, job market is a term which is used for like when PhD students graduate and then they apply for these roles at schools, at universities.
Right.
So right now, honestly, I don't know.
Yeah. So how many years left for your PhD to be completed?
Sir, 2 years, 2 or 3. Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, you'll finish in 1.5 if I know you correctly. Right. So, Vrinda, that's your journey. Do you remember any of your Pratham days?
Yes, sir, of course. I mean, I remember a lot of it. Like, we used to have those classes, and then I remember a group of us used to just sit at Pratham and just solve questions and eat your head on clarifying questions and doubts and everything.
I remember it very clearly. If I remember correctly, we used to be there in office till about 10 o'clock in the evening, in the night. Some of us. I mean, you would probably go home early, but your other batchmates, I mean, they were 10:30. Right. So, but those were fun days. We could pretty much figure out nothing else to do but to teach, or so it was better to teach than go home and watch TV. Coming back to you remembering the Pratham days. So if you were to put the economist hat on yourself, how badly is the Indian economy going to be hit?
So I don't have a number, but definitely it's pretty bad. And I think, I mean, this is honestly only from my limited knowledge. Yes, there are other people out there.
We have enough knowledge for you to give us a thing.
But I think
people are running the country.
I think honestly, developing economies in general are the worst hit ones. Mm-hmm. That's also because like we don't realize, because fortunately we are here, we have the comfort of sitting in a room with our laptops and Wi-Fi and talking like this and meeting like this. But in fact, just yesterday I was reading this news article which talked about how the income inequality is actually going to grow a lot, because now that everything is moving online, people, children especially from some areas, they do not have these facilities and they cannot access them. And similarly, the migrant labor or the small enterprises which are actually just focused on these face-to-face settlements in terms of cash and their business, they're going to be badly hit.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty bad, and my sense is that it's at least going to last until next year. This is not going away anytime soon, and then recovery will take another few years, and that is why these economic stimulus payments are so important to keep the economy going.
What can India as a country do to recover at a faster rate?
So that's a good question. I think these economic stimulus payments are like, money actually reaching in the hands of the people. I think that's foremost important because, again, I think this article was another economist which was talking about how people don't realize that people will actually end up giving social distancing, and we can see that happening actually now, in India at least.
Yes.
Because there's a limit to which you can sustain people and capture them inside the household. So I think this money needs to be disbursed at a faster pace in the hands of the people directly. Some of it is happening, but also like there needs to be more digitalization. Like the small enterprises should be like, I don't know how. Obviously, I don't have the answers to that because that involves detailed research. But these small enterprises need to get digitalized faster, so those people who are actually employed by these small enterprises don't lose their livelihoods and their households.
Yeah. So my understanding of the situation is it's either you adapt and evolve, or you pretty much can say bye-bye to whatever you've built over a period of time. I mean, to be honest,
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
To be very honest, we were faced with that same challenge because this lockdown happened right before we were to start our classes, and we were clueless how we're going to be doing online classes and everything. So we were playing by the book, and the good thing is that we were forward thinking. We were good enough, or we were equipped enough to develop these studios at our teachers' homes, because we didn't know what the lockdown was going to entail, right? So we said, okay, we'll buy the software, the hardware, everything in bulk, and we give it off, right? And trust me, this is what has actually saved the company, Pratham. Not just that, but the students who paid up their fees to the company was able to keep it running. We have been able to keep running this enterprise and keep teaching the kids. But it was definitely a very, 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 very challenging time. We were expecting a great show this year, but with the numbers and everything, but we are happy to have been able to survive this. I know a lot of our competitors have not been able to survive it. The numbers and everything are down, but I'm not concerned about how they have done, but I was very, very concerned about the company doing well, sustaining itself, and going into the future. For us, I think it is more about handling this next 6 to 8 months on a survival rate before things go back to normal. So yeah, that was all right. So let's come down to, there are about 24 questions waiting for you, Vrinda, right? So let me shoot them through you. Okay. Do we need to know economics in depth for stock market, or just business economics will be fine?
So I don't know what. So I think economics in depth for the stock market is a part of business economics.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think I can disentangle the two. But I think economics news in general. I mean, if you
will be definitely for sure, because that's the base for stock market learning. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it possible to get into hardcore economics or academia after masters from a very reputed university like Oxford? Somil.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's no stopping. I mean, Oxford is great, and that's, again, it's just from my experience and my understanding.
Yes.
I think
Your experience is very valuable to the kids here right now.
Yeah.
All right, Mahira Gupta asks, which is a better course in between BSc Economics and Finance at Ashoka or the 5-year integrated course at IIM Rohtak?
So actually, I don't know.
Should I answer that on your behalf if it's
Sure, sir. Sure. Yeah.
Firstly, Ashoka has a great name, but unfortunately, there's no return on investment. So if you're doing a course and spending about 30-40 lakhs rupees on an Indian university to pursue a course and it doesn't get you a job worth 10 lakh rupees a year, it's probably not worth it, which is where IIM Rohtak, which is government funded, will definitely outshine Ashoka. And since it's an IIM, you are bound to get a good placement after it. And think about 10 years down the line, you will still be called an IIM alumni, right, Myra? So you'll have to think about it from a long-term perspective as well, that IIM Rohtak will definitely get you places rather than Ashoka. It's no doubt got a good name, but it's also about the amount of money that you're spending and the return on investment. Okay, Nimisha Patidar asks Vrinda, pursuing economics as a career is only an option for commerce stream, or one with humanities with math stream is also eligible for a career like this?
So I think in LSA we had a lot of people with humanities and math background. So I don't think universities in India, I mean LSA especially has a same cutoff for all the colleges, at least during my time.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not like keeping you out from applying.
Okay, so Nimisha again asks, how does Pratham comes in place while preparing for So we don't prepare for UPSC, but we definitely prepare for CLAT and we're pretty good at it. All right. Somil says Hindu won it this year, an actress competition.
Okay.
Sarvagya Chawla asks, in BMS, how much is economics? You will be taught a reasonable amount of economics because for any business to run, the base for any business to run is economics. Okay, Varun Sahani asks, if someone wants to pursue MSc Finance, is it okay to go for BCom Honours in DU, or will that hamper my application? Also, how important is the rank of college in DU for applying abroad?
So I think that's a very good question. So I'll answer the first part first. I mean, in fact, a year senior to me, there was another student who got into MIT for the same program, who was BCom Honours. So I think it's very much possible, at least in the course I'm from. Secondly, for your second question, how important is the rank? I think it does play a role, definitely, because I mean, when you so this was when actually I was visiting London in my first year of college, and I was just there for a holiday. But I also went to LSE, and I went to the admissions team, and I was asking them, what do you look at from universities in India? And they do look at the college ranks, because for them, how are they supposed to know every college in the country? They will also refer to some kind of rankings like we do. So they're also humans, and definitely the rank does play a part in some aspect.
So LSA was right up there?
Yeah. But obviously that doesn't go like that doesn't preclude me from saying that if you're a good student in any other college, then your application will definitely stand out.
Yep, I agree with that statement as well. Does IIM also have options for acting courses?
So maybe you're able to answer this better.
So Sarvagya, what did you do after MIT? She worked in a consulting company and then she's currently pursuing her PhD. So Akriti pretty much asked the same question which I asked you. What are you planning to do after your PhD?
Yeah, Akriti, I'm planning to continue doing research and teach and apply for teaching research and teaching.
And trust me, Akriti, teaching profiles in universities abroad are paid very handsomely as compared to the teachers and the faculty here in India. So, which is an unfortunate thing, which is also the reason why Indians don't want to become teachers, which is a shame. Because till the time we don't have good teachers like the ones mentioned by Vrinda herself, we'll not end up producing people like Raghuram Rajan or Vrinda Mittal. Sarvagya also asks you, what kind of internships did you do during your LSR days?
So I interned at Barclays. This was mostly a finance role. So that was in one of the years. In the other 2 years, actually, I was working at this NGO called MAD, Make a Difference, which is run by I think Meghna. I think it's Meghna Jain. Yeah, I think I was talking to Meghna during those days, and she told me that why don't you come? And she introduced me to that. And there I found my co-teacher was actually working in this industry. She was working in the power systems in India, so she was actually running a lot of these Nash equilibrium and game theoretic concepts in her work. So she just told me, okay, why don't you come over and why don't you can intern there. So that was one thing which I did, which was very economics driven. The other thing was I was also working on this agricultural project, which was also like economics driven, but it was mostly like data cleaning, collection. So it was all like pushing me towards this research direction now when I think exposed. So these are the three things I did. Yeah.
Ansh asks you a question. Are 9th, 10th and 11th marks important for abroad admissions?
I didn't. So I didn't report my 9th, 10th. Okay, I didn't report my 9th and 11th, I think, anywhere. I reported my 10th and 12th because that's what they asked. Yeah. But it's different if you're applying for undergrad. So I don't know if your question is for undergrad or master's.
Yep. Okay.
I'm talking on master's.
Have you got the citizenship of USA till now?
No, sir. I'm very much an Indian. I would like to be an Indian.
Perfect. I wanted to hear that. What's the cost of education if you choose an education trajectory as Vrinda ma'am did, provided you get the same scholarship? Is the ROI feasible?
So the cost of education really varies, and you can obviously just Google the courses and you'll find all the costs on their website. I mean, you can just Google that. I think it really varies from school to school. ROI, I think it really depends on the kind of job you're looking for. I mean, if you work in, if you get a good job, I mean, definitely it's feasible.
Righto. Please suggest some interesting books that we in high school students can read to enhance our interest in economics.
Actually, Raghuram Rajan has these really nice books. I mean, Fault Lines is one of them. And Fault Lines. I think I don't remember the full name. It's Fault Lines, and then I like this. I Do What I Do. Or I think he has 3 or 4 books during his period of governor, after, or something like that. And one is I Do What I Do. Something like that. I think these 2 books are really nice of his.
All right. So you have your answer here, Sarvagya. Can we get into HR department after doing an economics course?
So I think you might be able to answer this better.
If you're doing economics, you don't want to get into HR. That's the waste of your time. That'll be a waste of your time.
I mean, if you want to get into HR, economics is a very math-heavy degree, so might as well do something which might enhance your application for HR. Right. I honestly don't know, to be honest.
Okay. Okay. Which one will have more demand in the future? Business economics or economics honors?
So I am obviously very biased towards economics. So by business economics, I mean, you can mean financial economics also, but I think they all go in hand in hand. If you want to do something like economics and development, that's a different stream totally, So I think economics and business economics is very similar as long as you want to work in that field. But then there are also these other fields of economics and development, economics and agriculture, economics and industries. So I think there's demand for sure.
All right. Somil again asks you a question. He asked the question earlier about Ashoka. He says, I have a scholarship at Ashoka and 3 years for me would cost about 13 lakhs in total. And I want to pursue economics in the future. I'm hoping to get into Hansraj with 97.75 best of 4. My target is a foreign university for masters in economics, and I want to get into the academia. What should be my choice?
Okay, this is a very tough question. Hansraj has definitely a very good repetition for economics, like hands down. Ashoka is, by the way, Ashoka, I think, and so this is a question for you. Ashoka has a different kind of curriculum, right? It's PPE, I believe. It's not pure economics. So I think you should also see what you want to do, because the economics at DU is very maths driven and microeconomics heavy. PPE will have, I think, economics, political economics, and philosophy, I think. So these are two different courses.
All right. So let me also help you re-emphasize the fact, Somil, that the university and the college that you pass out of makes a lot of difference. Ashoka is nowhere in the list of top universities in India yet. And Hansraj would definitely be there, and DU is definitely everyone knows of. So if you want to apply to a foreign university, like Vrinda also mentioned, the college name matters a lot. So I would still suggest Hansraj Eco Honors or SRCC Eco Honors if you get through, hands down over Ashoka. Neonica asks, is BBA in finance a better option if you want to pursue something? Obviously,
you might want to answer this.
Yeah, I think obviously the question is not very clear, Neonica. Okay, which is to be preferred? DU with Jesus and Mary's Economics Honors, CBS College of Business Studies? No.
I think it's CBS at Shahid Bhagat Singh.
What is CBS?
I don't know, sorry.
Again, DU will be hands down better. Mahira, please understand that. And thank you for the compliments as well. What are all the career options after doing economics and finance?
So I think for me this was really enlightening, because it does a lot of career options. I mean, there are very different options after pursuing economics and finance. Like, so if you want to work, then there's obviously corporate finance, investment banking, consulting, there's asset management, there's hedge funds,
there's banking,
buy side, there's banking, exactly. So, and if you want to do a PhD, then obviously then there's that route where you can also, like, you know, do your PhD and then
teach. All PhDs end up teaching, Vrinda? Or do they do something else as well?
I mean, I have heard of situations also when people are like, okay, I don't want to pursue this any forward, you know, let me just go to the industry, or let me just work as an economist at say Uber or IMF, World Bank. I mean, these are all like options and great places for people.
So regular corporate job is also an option, right?
Yes, but ideally you wouldn't want to pursue. I mean, ideally, if you want to do a regular corporate job, then why invest 5 years of your life, you know? But obviously people decide and they have different preferences, and it changes along the way. So
yeah, Ansh, also BFI is probably the best course to pursue in India for finance, right? Okay, Kaval course asks, is BA program with economics and math from DU good for someone who wants to do masters in economics later?
Yeah, definitely. I think I DU's economics program with math is very, very good.
All right. So now I'm taking some questions from the YouTube page as well. So Vrinda, I've asked that question before. Ansh Bajaj asks you a question. Did you engage yourself in any startup while working while studying at MIT or while pursuing PhD?
No, sir. No. I mean, the courses are...
The startup would definitely value the inputs of an economist coming in?
It will, but I think right now I mean, I'm more focused towards finishing the program and on research. So I have not done anything like that.
Okay, Aman Singh asks you, Vrinda, can you please tell me the prospects of going to a US PhD, keeping in mind that you're already exhausted of money after doing a bachelor's in IPU and an MA economics of DSC?
So I went to LSR and I went to MIT. I didn't go to DSC. By the way, DSC is also an option, because I think from my year they started taking people on the basis of just the cutoff, and you don't have to write the entrances. So that's obviously like another plus point for the BA program. But no, because the US, all PhDs in the US are fully funded, so you don't have to pay on your own.
Yeah. So once you get selected for PhD, your expenses are pretty much taken care of, and you paid as well, right?
No, you don't. You don't pay your.
No, you are
it's
paid.
like, yeah. You're paid. Yes, that's right.
Okay. So Aman Singh, isn't the projection that India would be the second economy into 2050? Will the US job market for Indians be useless by 2050? Is that a possibility?
I honestly wouldn't know. I cannot predict that.
What do you think will stop India from becoming the third biggest economy in the world?
I think, in my view, we really have to build the economy bottom up. You know, we have to just, if money's seeping in from the top, it has to go. Like, we don't realize how many people need it. You know, I think really we need to build bottom up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Riyanshi Kataria says, what about BFIA from DU? It's a very good option, beta. Mayank asks you, Ishita Singh asks you, please tell more about economics honors from LSR, like the faculty and the syllabus.
That's a good question. So in the first year, I think you take econometrics, micro, and macro. Macro will be like mostly about GDP and like the bigger aggregate economy. Micro will be they focus on the tools and the theory, you know, like consumer demand and supply, those kind of things in detail, and you derive. So it is math heavy, and but it helps. It really helps later on. In the second year, I think you start specializing. No. In the second year, you have advanced courses of micro and macro. And in the third year, you start specializing in like different fields where you can choose subjects. Like some people can take game theory or financial economics. It also depends what the college is offering, you know, how many students are in demand for that course. Regarding the faculty, I personally think we have some of the best faculty. I mean, it's just amazing how much they know. It's for you to take it. I mean, if you can go to them, talk to them, and they're happy to give you any amount of time and effort, and it's amazing. Yeah.
So a good solid education background from India definitely helps, right? When
definitely. Yeah.
So चहक आपका भी आंसर हो गया है इसमें. अंश, BFI सिर्फ सुखदेव में नहीं है, but since you are a boy, the other option gets ruled out because the other option is Shahid Rajguru College of Applied Sciences for Women, which offers BFI, so you can't apply. Okay, another question that comes your way, Varun Sani asks, would a Tier 2 DU college enjoy more reputation than, let's say, a private university like Narsi Monji for BCom honors while applying abroad?
So it's a Tier 2 college from?
DU. Enjoy
probably, I'm not sure how Nasi Monji falls in the list. Probably, I would say. It also depends which college you're talking about, and because then you end up saying Delhi University in the end, right? Delhi University holds a lot of name. Yeah.
Okay, Nimisha says, are the campus placements of DU offered to some very selective students? And what all qualities do they look for in students while offering them a job?
So at DU, right?
Yeah.
So at DU, I think, with my experience, I think in India, they really want your GPA also to be high. That's also a way of screening students when looking for placements. And obviously, like all these projects and startups and initiatives, these clubs, extracurricular activities, companies are looking for that kind of an experience. So in my batch, I saw many people having a background like this end up getting good jobs. So yeah.
All right. Somil again comes back with a question. For someone who has a deep interest in game theory, should a pure economics course be better choice, or economics and finance?
For game theory, definitely a pure economics course.
Ansh, this is not the platform for finance-related courses at an undergrad level abroad. You can call us on the helpline number or the International Education Helpline Desk. We'll get your answers there. Okay, back to YouTube. Okay. Okay, we've talked about the faculty and everything. Please tell us the difference between BA Honors in Economics and BA Honors in Business Economics.
I don't know if we have a BA Honors in Business Economics. But
yeah, we have BBE. Okay. You remember giving the exam for the 3 courses in 12?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, BBE was the other option.
So, I mean, according to what I heard from my friends, BBE is a very tough course, by the way. BBE is a very math rigorous course. But I think there you also have some other business-related courses which are not there in economics.
Yes.
And maybe they do a little bit of accounting, which we don't do at all.
Correct. So, from a job perspective, a BBE would be better. But if you want to pursue your master's, then economics honors will be better. Okay. Harsh asks you a question. Please tell us about your experiences of cracking the entrances.
Oh, I think I honestly, Pratham plays a huge role. I remember for math, we used to sit in the center, and I think that time Anubhav sir was at the center, and with Ankit sir and then Jabani ma'am, and we had Sophia. We used to just sit and just solve different kind of problems, and also you need to have the trick of solving those problems, not just learn it by heart, but you need to know where to apply those tricks. I think for maths, that's really helpful. For English, you just have to build your English. I mean, there's no shortcut for English. I'm sorry.
Knowing where you're grammatically going wrong, your concepts of grammar are very important.
Yeah, very, very important. And for
what about awareness? GK,
yeah,
what about GK?
For general knowledge, I think we also used to get these general knowledge books, and I remember we used to sit and just ask each other questions. The ideal thing would be to read newspapers throughout your life and the year, but obviously none of us did that.
Now you're doing it, right?
Now you're doing it when you realize the importance of it. Now you read every day, okay, what is in Financial Times? But I think you just need to know it. You need to learn it. We also learned the I don't know what they call the punchlines. I don't know if it's there now, but
yeah, it's still
this
there.
Is all.
Unfortunately, they don't experience business awareness from me anymore. I've taken a backseat with respect to business awareness. They're so lucky people.
They are missing out, sir.
I was very strict. Yeah, I was very strict.
It was good.
आजकल strictness बच्चों के साथ जमती नहीं. Yeah, so that was. And how were you remember your GD and PI preparations?
Yeah, I remember some of them. Yeah, it was GD. GD, we used to sit in a room and we used to have seniors come and conduct those GDs. And we used to have back to back for the entire day, and we used to just sit and practice. And honestly, that helped a lot. I still remember my GD interviews. I had them. I think that helped a lot.
And you remember your interview with me?
Oh, yeah, sir. Let's not talk about it.
yeah, let's not talk about it at all. All right. All right. Okay, love yourself. Ankit sir, which is better for competitive exam, BBE or economics honors? I would prefer a BBE because I run a business for competitive test prep. Does looks count for in a PI? I don't know what to answer to that question. If you have a good smile, it definitely helps. If you have a good smile, it definitely helps.
I mean, you need to appear confident. That's a part of your looks.
Right. So that comes with a smile, right? चलो अब मैं अपने questions पूछता हूँ, ठीक है? Prepared a set of questions.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Why? So you wanted to get into masters and not go in via the work experience route. Any particular reasons that you wanted to jump into the masters directly and not go in for a substantial work experience and then go for your masters?
Sir, because I researched the courses I wanted to go to and they didn't require a substantial work ex. So I thought there's no point in waiting for 2 years or 3 years and then going. I thought it just makes sense to
If
go now.
you're nearly there as an economist, what does an economist do on a day-to-day basis?
So it's a very unique kind of life. You need to be really in love with your subject and have those kind of so you start seeing everything through a lens, and that lens is actually your way of so if you read a news article, okay, what's exciting here, and what question is not answered in the literature, what can I add, so you're generally working on average, like economists generally work on a couple of projects. They can range for obviously like 3 to 4 or 10 depending on how much bandwidth you have. And then you have a lot of seminars and conferences you attend to where you go and present your work. So that takes some of your time. And then as you go higher up in the profession, you also advise students. So that's also part of your job. And then you have to teach. Yeah.
So that's what you do on a day-to-day basis, right? Now that you're here, how is your regular day now? In a lockdown, how is your regular day?
So actually the lockdown has really helped us in a certain, like our species students in some sense, because now that, so earlier we used to have seminars. Seminars are basically like 1 hour slots of 45-minute slots where people present their work. Now that earlier it was all within school, but now since everything is virtual, we can connect across schools, and I think that has really helped. So that takes some of the time in the day. Then I try to work on my own like thesis and projects, and and then when you're working with co-authors, you have to reply to them, so you have to like do the work and give them, so that takes some of the time. And
so would we see a book written? Yeah, that's an important thing. Yeah, I mean, you're getting to spend it after a long time. You've been pretty much out of India since the time you started with your masters, right?
Yes, sir, 2015.
And 2015, wow. 2015, so almost 5 years. So it's a good welcome break for you, right? Isn't it? How's your sister doing? How's your sister doing? What is she pursuing right now?
Good, sir. She's also doing economics and maths in her undergrad in Boston University. So she's also leaving in about 10 days to go back.
All right, she's there now. It's all, the family is back together, right?
Yes. Sir.
How expensive was the education abroad, and who funded it? Your father, or you funded it yourself?
I funded it myself. Yeah.
Awesome. That's what I wanted to hear. Brilliant. What do you think about is the basic difference between education in India and education abroad? You've experienced both.
So I think education abroad was really an eye-opener for me. I cannot thank LSR enough, and my 11th and 12th maths especially enough, how much that has helped me. Because when I go, like, you, for instance, you have to give those, so when I reached MIT, you have to give those math placement tests where you can waive off a subject if you just give it. And for me, it was, okay, I just studied all this, so I could waive off those courses. So I think our math background is very strong. But what I think we lack here, and which I learned there, is like to take a step back and to see, like, okay, you're getting into proof by proof, like, okay, derivatives, blah, blah, but how does it matter? How does it connect? What's the big picture? How can you apply it? I think I had some of it in LSR, like we had these projects where we used to we used to code and run these group projects and everything. But I don't think every university here, in at least from my friends, has that kind of a system in place. I think, and now I think even LSR is building a lot on that. So
you've gone back to LSR for some bit of alumni talk or something like that?
No, sir. Like I wasn't in. People they asked me, but I wasn't.
Now that India is embracing Zoom calls and Zoom webinars, I'm sure you will now be more accessible to your college kids. Right?
Yeah, but I've met my teachers definitely after coming back. I met them, and so I think that's one of the major difference, that you need to take a step back and see how does it matter. Like you're just in your math, but why?
We are trained to be workhorses, right? So We don't have to look at the big picture. We're just supposed to look at the small picture. This is what is to be done. That's what the problem is with the Indian education system.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I think that's pretty much ingrained into us from school. Okay, you have to get this percentage in 12th so that you can get into this college. And I'm not saying that's bad. I myself have been a part of it and I really like that. But I think in some places that doesn't work. That will work until 11th and 12th and probably to get you a good college. But after that doesn't work at all.
All right. Okay. How important is math and a background in math for you to pursue economics or finance or both?
As an undergrad, I think so. I don't know finance undergrads, but I know BCom honors, for instance, doesn't have that much math compared to economics. I think economics is more math, so that's important. That doesn't mean that if you don't have math, I think for applying to economics, math is a requirement, right?
Yeah, in DU, yes, but there are a couple of universities outside DU where you can pursue economics even if you don't have maths, like Symbiosis School of Economics, Jamia Millia Islamia, and Christ University, Bangalore, where you can pursue economics even if you don't have math. So will that be a disadvantage?
I mean, I think at some point you need to brush it up yourself. That's where it'll come down to, because math is a tool to answer questions in economics, and you need to know the tool. Not everywhere you cannot just reason. You need to know how to derive, and so I think at some point it will come helpful.
Yeah. Okay. Somil asks you a question. How long has Vrinda ma'am been studying after she graduated from school? And what year of PhD is she in? Furthermore, for getting an offer from foreign university, is the GPA or the GRE score more relevant than co-curriculars like societies, internships, volunteering, and competitions?
So I think to your second question, GRE, both are relevant. I don't think one is...
Yeah, you can't do with one. You have to be good at both.
Yeah.
That's the good part about international education. You have to be an all-rounder for you to get selected in top universities rather than just be only focused towards books. Yeah.
And I think when I graduated from high school, but I think 7 years now, and I'm entering my 4th year of my PhD.
Awesome. All right, so Somali, if that answers your question. Okay, if one has a choice of studying economics honors from DU or studying it from a good US universities at an undergrad level, which is better?
So I think an advantage with the US universities is that you can combine courses. And so it really depends. If you just want to do economics, only economics, then it's also like you have to also look at how much you want to pay and like how much return you get or how much you can fund and et cetera, et cetera. But ceteris paribus, keeping all that aside, I think you have to really see the course curriculum. And if economics appeals to you and the subject appeals to you, if you want to do pure economics, I mean, I think DU is like, I like it.
Well.
It's a good place. It's a reasonable, and it's very well known. So when you go outside, if you do, I think you should take advantage of the combinations of courses. I think that's the key advantage.
Okay, so there is a student who says, ma'am, I'm very inspired by you. I want to know your timetable of how you studied for your entrances.
I'm sure in my batch there are other people who should answer this question than me because they got better ranks.
But I'm sure your rank 51 is not bad either.
My timetable, I think I used to dedicate a lot of time to practice questions and mocks, and because in the end, it's those few minutes which will determine how you perform. It doesn't matter how good you are at learning some general knowledge or whatever. It's how you can handle pressure at that time. So doing mocks over and over will help you. And And what I did was, like, I always did mocks on alternate days. Like, you don't want to exhaust yourself, you're not a machine that you just keep on running one day after the other. So have sufficient time to do your mocks.
Right. So mocks is what it is. Okay. Chehek asks you a question. What exactly is the main difference between BCom and BCom honors degree or an integrated economics and finance degree? Like what will be the difference in career options between the two?
So you might want to answer that one.
Yeah, BCom and BCom honors. BCom per se is very theoretical in nature. Anything which is application oriented would be better off, but unfortunately your BCom and BCom honors are not at all application oriented. When you talk about your integrated economics and finance degree, finance per se, I can pretty much say that it'll be a very, very interesting course to do, purely from a point of view of application, because anything like finance or marketing or human resources are more application oriented rather than the theoretical part of what you're taught in BCom. So the application part is what is important, and per se, whichever way you look at it, your ability to know how to apply a particular thing is going to help you a long way in being successful in your career, whether it's finance or economics. Vrinda can also talk about the fact that her economics in LSA was also a bit more theoretical. It's only her internships and her extracurriculars where she understood how to apply them. And similarly, what she did and how her finance degree helped in MIT was more application oriented rather than just mugging up, right? So that's how it will be. Okay, so Somil can ask you a question again. He's asked a lot of questions. Can we connect with Vrinda ma'am over LinkedIn for specific, more intensive questions?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. So, I'm happy to have it.
Okay, did you give preference to board or entrances?
Board exams.
I don't know if
I just knew I wanted to do economics. Sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's water under the bridge. Okay, I don't know if I can call myself an all-rounder. I've done decently in academics and I'm a 1500 rated national level chess player and currently working on charity projects. It's only this year that I'm concentrating on commerce society competitions. Also, I am part of a mentorship program with Sri Guru Gobind Singh College of Commerce. How good is my profile for college both in India and abroad?
I think, first of all, congratulations. I mean, you're doing way more than I did. I mean, so what course are you looking for? It really depends.
I think he's just more importantly wanting to go abroad.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that I wouldn't recommend that approach. I mean, you should see what college you get into and what college you want to get into, because colleges also want to hire students who are interested in a course than just want to get in.
Okay, Kanishka asks, I want to pursue a career in finance in future. Please tell me what is the path?
Career in finance, I mean, post undergraduation, you can definitely apply for jobs, and I would recommend first, try and know, which is very difficult, but try and know which field in finance you're interested in. I mean, there again, it's like when you apply for courses, you don't want to apply for all kind of courses, and so you don't want to apply for all kind of jobs. So is it more on consulting side? Is it more like investment banking or credit risk, sales and trading? Which field? And I would recommend just go on the websites.
Right. Firstly is that. Secondly, in this AlumSpeak series that we've done, this is the fifth edition of it. We've covered pretty much some of it. We've covered investment banking. We're now covering economics and finance. We've covered law. We've covered sales and marketing. We've given a wide scope of elements to ask your questions on. Right. That's one. Secondly, a very, very important factor for you to do well in finance is doing your internships very selectively and properly in the areas that you are genuinely interested in. Right, so that's very important. Internships play a very, very important role in you getting selected, right? Okay, there is a question from Aman Singh. Can doing a PhD really give you all the skills, including finance, for a startup?
I mean, if you want to do a startup, why not start it now? I mean, I don't think a PhD is necessary for that, because you'll be investing 5 years of your life in, unless it's a PhD in entrepreneurship, which I don't know. But I think it's, the ROI is not there. If you want to do a startup, like, do it right now or do it after your undergraduation or with it.
So Yashna is saying hi to you.
Hi, Yashna.
Right, she messaged on Facebook. That's nice to hear from you as well. Right. Okay. Okay, so we've talked about consulting as well. We've got Hardik for consulting as a career option as well. So just wanted to ask, and I asked that question to Hardik as well, and I'm asking you. You were part of a consulting company when you were working for Nera Consulting, right? How was your work-life balance that time?
So I think it really depends on your team. For me, the work-life balance was very good. I used to enter at 9 a.m. and I used to leave by 7:30 or max 8 p.m. So
and what were you up to when you were pursuing on a weekend? What would probably be your taking work back home or doing something different?
No, on weekends I would just work on I worked on maybe a couple of weekends. That's it. I didn't work on weekends a lot.
So how did you pass your time on the weekend when you were all alone?
So in New York City,
nobody's alone.
Have friends. Nobody's alone. But I have friends in New York City also, because from MIT a lot of people ended up getting jobs in New York. So we had a good group of people there, and even from my friends from work, we used to meet up. So yeah.
Okay. So you had a pretty okay work-life balance.
Yeah, I think it was pretty good. In fact, my bosses would be like, okay, go home. So I think they fostered that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll quickly ask you a question. Sure. So somebody is looking at going abroad, whether after 12th or after graduation. What I feel now, and this is after due experience coming from the education industry and international education as well, that a child's profile is very, very important when it comes to applications abroad, right?
Yeah.
So do you agree to that first philosophy? Firstly, and secondly, if you agree to that philosophy, what can a child do from 11th itself to build their profile if they're planning to go abroad?
So I think that is important, but there is also a lot of randomness, which we shouldn't. You might have the best application, but you might still not get in. That's not because your application is not good. It's just maybe you're not a good fit in front of their eyes. You might get into other schools in which so there's some kind of translucency, not because you don't have a good profile, but also because of fit is what matters a lot. That said, we can do what best we can. So to build our profile, I would say, good grades is very important, and having those good grades is what obviously helps you set apart from the others. But also pursuing some extracurriculars is also important. And for me, it might vary from what you want to apply, but for me, it was mostly in the field of economics and finance.
Perfect. Okay. And Anya Jha says, ask if a student currently studying in class 12 can't take out much time to give SAT, and since many foreign universities have already waived it off, would you suggest applying without SAT scores or taking a gap year?
I don't know what the requirements for undergrad are. I think SAT score is a necessary requirement, right? I don't know, because I didn't apply for undergrad abroad.
Okay. I would suggest not taking a gap year since a lot of universities have waived off SAT. Your application would do the trick because they also understand that taking SAT right now in today's day and age is difficult. So I don't think so. You should be wasting a year and applying through a gap year. That is what I would pursue. Okay, which course should I opt at an undergrad level to pursue finance?
Which course? I would say economics.
Right?
Yeah.
Or you can probably pursue specialized courses in finance like BFIA or BSc Finance. These are now there are some courses that are available. BFI was available at your time as well, but now certain specialized finance courses are also coming up in a big way. Okay, Somil, back again. Do colleges abroad require a PhD for us to get a job as a professor?
Yes. Yeah. In short, yes. I think PhD is very much a requirement.
Yeah. And that's the best part about universities abroad here. B.Ed, M.Ed is what is required, and clearing an exam called NET is required to become a professor in DU, but a PhD is a must, I think. Kaval, yes, Enactus is pretty much part of all colleges in DU now. Right. So coming back to my questions as well, and I'll probably shoot only another couple of them.
No worries.
You is it safe to say that economics and finance as a career is essentially for only and only smart people like you, or normal people like us can also get through?
So it's for everyone. I mean, if you want to do it, it's there. I don't think there's any. Even not just for saying, I really don't think there's any kind of barrier to get into a role which is in finance, maybe at a big bank.
You have to pursue it with all dedication, I think.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so there is a child by the name of Neil who says, what is economics like? Is it very, in economics honors, I'm assuming, is it very different from what is taught in school?
Oh yes, definitely. In school, you will be exposed to what is the GDP, how do you measure it, or what is demand, what is supply, what is an equilibrium. For instance, in 11th and 12th, you would have studied that. In economics, you try to understand how that is constructed, where does that come from, what is the intuition behind it, what is the math behind it, how is it used. I mean, I think it's just 11th and 12th is just scratching the surface, but it's still very important, because if you don't like it then you have some sort of an indication that, okay, this is not my area. I need to be more sure of it, so these are flags you shouldn't miss. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So Mil, again, how do we pursue pure research in economics if we don't opt for a PhD? Basically, what are the career prospects in pure economics after masters?
I think there are many. I mean, you can always work at these think tanks, or I honestly didn't quite look into them a lot myself, but I've heard from people, I know of people who've done a master's in the US, and they're now working with the World Bank on some kind of projects, or in the IMF. I mean, obviously, so what I figured out was there will always be some kind of, if you want to keep on doing research at that position for 20 years of your life, at some point in time you might be okay, I need to go higher up, and then you'll realize, okay, a PhD is really required to be an economist, and then probably you'll go back to school, so you need to see how much you can progress in that field.
Okay. Right. So if you were, now that you've done a lot of education for yourself in life, right, you're doing a PhD, what would you have done differently when you were in school to what you have learned now? How things would have been different if you had this information, vital knowledge about career prospects before you pursued anything to do with economics? Would you have done something differently?
I think in the first best world, if I knew that I wanted to do a PhD, I would probably have started reading. So obviously, I've been very fortunate enough that I ended up in this path without like, fall, like without stumbling left and right. But I've been very fortunate in that. Had I been in school, right now I would probably go back to reading a lot more about the news, about like what's about the budget, about the stock markets, about these kind of things, about what's happening in the economy, like staying really on top of it, and probably would have started my own projects on the side in undergrad or in masters. But because I didn't know that, okay, in my undergrad I didn't know I want to do a PhD, I started it a little late. I'm not late. I mean, I started
to keep. So what she's saying is to keep working on your course side by side and getting a lot of experience on the side, which will definitely go a long way. From her time to now, I think the information is available a lot more of people to utilize their college and not just to while away their time, which a lot of people do in college, right? Typically how a DU person is, right? Hardly any studies happening, and okay, go to a tuition center and pass, right? Use your 11th 12th, right? Or if you're talking about an undergrad abroad, use your 11th 12th, build your profile. That's, I think, a very critical element that she's also talking about, right? Building your profile is not extracurricular activities. Knowing what you're interested in, doing things around it is a big thing. And if you're not clear about what you want to do and you get into a course in college, and then also you can build your profile alongside, right?
Yeah.
So continuing to work on the areas of your interest and doing things beyond the scope of the college or beyond the scope of the books is very important, right? So that's what I would probably say at this level. Okay. Okay, if one has to start a business venture after 12th or after college, how important is economics in this respect?
I don't think economics is. I mean, if an idea is more important than an economics, for instance, hypothetically, let's take the Enactus project of Shahid Sukhdev. The idea was that, okay, you need to have, like, give your notebooks, and then they use the other side of the blank paper and they recycle it and sell it. And that they're using that extra blank paper, which is just left away. So it's an idea. You get the capital for that. You decide what you want to do, and then you just build it. The problem comes when you need some, like the hurdle in progressing comes, say, if you want to build an app, what methodology, then you need someone on your team. So I would say, like, you don't need to collect all the tools beforehand. You just start, and then you just collect your tools on the way. Like, you just, like, pick up your toolbox. Okay, I need to hire a person who can build the app, something like that. I don't think you need to really wait
the market
to start.
Need is critical. Understanding the market need is critical.
Yes, but that's what you research beforehand. Yeah.
Okay, Somil again. Do call letters from other colleges for undergrad matter while applying to universities for masters abroad?
Do call letters
from other colleges for undergrad matter while applying to universities for masters abroad? I don't think so.
No, I mean, your recommendations matter. Your scores matter.
From other colleges, no, they don't.
No.
Okay, what can be the career option if one chooses economic except PhD?
Oh, like the same as, say, after finance. The ones I described after finance, like banks, consulting, and even, like, if you want to work in, say, now a lot of my friends are working in the MIT JPAL lab, where you want to do some like work on poverty and inclusion, financial inclusion, these kind of things, or projects in India, or research, like do field work. A lot of my friends in LS also did that, or startups, basically anything you can think of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a question from Mukesh. He says the thing is that my father won't let me take BA economics, BA program in economics. So he's compelling me to take a BBA general. So my question is that does studying economics on my own from sites like Udemy or Unacademy or EDX have any scope?
I mean, definitely they'll help you build your own profile, and you'll understand it better. You understand concepts of economics better. But when you're actually applying abroad, even in India, when you're applying for say a master's, you cannot substitute that for a BA in economics. Sure, it can add value, but you cannot substitute that for a degree which is provided by a school. Unfortunately, that's the system we run in, and that is how it is.
Okay. Okay, so Aman Singh asks on YouTube, in finance, will a MSBA, I don't know the full form of it, will really replace MBA?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what an MSBA is.
Yeah, neither do I.
Is it Masters in Business?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right, anyway, so Aman, if you want to just quickly spell out what is the full form of MSBA, it will be great for us to be able to answer that question. Okay, right, so that's pretty much it. I'll quickly check if there are more questions here.
Sure.
Oh, wow. So Somil is really enjoying this webinar because he's asking more questions than anybody else. Is MIT JPAL the one started by Abhijit Banerjee? What is it all about?
I don't know who started it, but yes, Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo are the two pillars, the strong pillars who are running and who won the Nobel Prize. It's mostly about development economics, and they conduct a lot of random, this is also a term in economics, like randomized trial, controlled randomized trials, which is a way to, get some inferences about the research question in India and other developing countries. I mean, there's way more information on their website, so you could probably look at that.
Yeah, so we have the full form of MSBA, Masters of Science in Business Analytics.
Okay, so
finance will Masters of Science in Business Analytics replace an MBA? Yeah,
that's a good question. A lot of courses are coming up now with that Masters in Business Analytics. I mean, to be honest, I think MBA holds its own separate place. You need to come with a work ex and everything, and I mean, it is obviously another competitor, but I don't think it will replace an MBA. But obviously, who knows? If you're living in a world of today.
Yeah, sitting today, we can't hypotheticate the future. Okay, is the course curriculum of DU colleges for economics updated and current as compared to other private universities in India?
I wouldn't know that. I haven't checked. But in my time, it was updated. A lot of economics syllabuses can be found from DSC's website, Delhi School of Economics, from my time at least.
Mahira, colleges like Shivnada, Flame Kriya claim to have claimed the economics courses updated compared to DU. Do you think it's true? I think no matter how updated the curriculum of these university might be, DU curriculum is still very robust. And DU will obviously stand way better than anything else. Right. So pretty much it. So thank you so much, Vrinda, for taking out time on a busy day. You get one day with your parents, and we also take 2 hours from it. Thank you for spending time today. I hope you enjoyed giving your answers to the students. I'm sure the students enjoyed it really well with the kind of questions they asked. So from Pratham and myself, on my side, I would probably say thank you very much, Vrinda. I hope you do exceedingly well in your PhD, and you not just make your parents proud, you make us proud, you make India proud, right? That's what I'm hoping and wishing for. And maybe the next seasons that we do of AlumSpeak will get you back here, and where you are holding a very important position, and we'll have the luxury of interviewing you again when you reach the heights of the sky and do exceedingly well in your career. I hope all is well at your end. I hope you are doing well, and I hope everything else turns out to be exceedingly great for you in your career. Thank you very much, Vrinda.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for calling me, and thank you for all your blessings. And
Yeah, thank you for
I
doing
hope
it at such a short notice, actually. Right? It was just one message on Facebook that got us connected after a really long time. I was not sure that whether you were in India or abroad, but I'm so happy that we did it and we made it work. Right? Thank you for all your cooperation and good luck, good wishes, and God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Take care of yourself and bye.
Bye.